The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, as usual, I'm your regular host. George Jagba is my name. And with me here in the studio, our in-house analyst, we have Silas Ezeogu.
You're welcome.
And Chibuzo Okaibe. And the big issue of the day is a question. Question is ahead of the 2023 presidential poll. Can opinion polls, social media, determine Nigerians' next president? Well, this big question is coming on the heels of the polls conducted by NOI polls. And of course, in the poll, presidential candidate of the Labour Party was favored to win the 2023 presidential election. NOI poll is an opinion polling center which claims a database of about 70 million phone numbers. And of course, presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Musa Kwankwa, so kicked against the opinion poll conducted by the polling center, which tipped Peter Obi to win the 2023 presidential election. Of course, the poll commissioned by ANAP Foundation, which was conducted this month, suggests a three-horse presidential race between Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku. Kwankwaso of the NNPP came fourth in the poll, and he was described as a dark horse. And of course, in opposition to this, the presidential candidates of the governing party, APC, Tinubu, described the opinion poll as dubiously concocted. And of course, we had the NNPP presidential candidate, Kwankwaso, who spoke through his presidential campaign spokesman, Jibrin, saying that Peter Obi can only win the presidential election in social media and not in the election proper. And of course, Atiku Abubakar also kicked against it and said that was not going to be possible. Of course, but we all know that opinion polls help politicians understand what the public wants from them, and the public understand who is popular at the ballot box. But when predictions of Nigeria's 2023 election were widely off the mark, some began to question their use. Well, let's just look at it this way. There have been confusion, tell us. In the APC, PDP, and NNPP camp, since that opinion poll came out, I think the team opinion poll conducted by NOR is a dubious concoction. What do you think about?
Yeah, the way they reacted to this poll is not unexpected.
You can't tell me that we were working towards winning election in a general election, and somebody just come and conduct an opinion poll and say, "Oh,
lost.
The winner is Peter Obi."
So that's it. In fact, the only candidate or the only camp that will not kick against this is maybe the Peter Obi camp.
Of course, the jubilation.
If this opinion poll
comments on social media,
yeah,
it's as if Obi is the president already.
See, if this election, this poll had favored APC, the same way PDP would have reacted.
Of course,
the other parties would have reacted.
And APC would have held the poll.
Yeah, so
I said this is a reflection of the mindset.
What I've not seen is the people who cover this story. What I've not seen them is talking to the big camp to know how they felt, whether they believe this poll or whether they also say it's not a
reality
from the big camp. think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I've not seen that yet. But so their reaction is, in fact, some of them are downright vitriolic. Some of them even launch a personal tirade.
Honestly.
Compete to be himself. You know.
Honestly.
Someone like Monica Ade,
Mm.
you know, what he says about Obi is so terrible. You know, as if Obi is the one that commissioned. In fact, the man, the APC spokesperson, one of the campaign spokesperson, you know, accused the organizers of doing a hatchet job for Obi, and that the pool is partisan and all that. Anyway, they have the right to think that way, and then like you said, it might have shocked them, but they have a good point that nobody should go and arrest that. This is how Nigerians actually vote. This is a poll conducted. They say pre-election time, and even the poll organizers, those who conducted it, say they are going to do more. This is just the first one. That's, you know, as the time goes on, they're going to do more to see how opinions are changing and forming ahead of the election. So they just started this yet, and those other people are screaming ahead of what they need to know is to look at the criteria, this poll, the parameters, all the data and samples used, look at the veracity of the data, the credibility of the data, and see whether there's truth in it, even in the backstage. We can give all this face that look, this is not working, but at the back they need to sit and look at it and see whether there's some semblance of reality in what this has shown, and see how they can utilize this to see where they are failing, so they can show up their campaign to cover the grounds. Okay, so it's I think they have a lot to gain from this poll than just dismiss it. Let them look at it, assess whether it is you know, what the variables are definable, and they are trustworthy, and then if they are from behind, they can work their campaign to cover up whatever ground they must have. But all the same, it's today we're talking about opinion, social media. They don't actually, I mean, you know, they are a factor in the whole process, but they are not conclusive. We have seen the past where opinion polls and the actual election they not tally. But like I said earlier, this one is not the final one. It's just a pre-campaign. In fact, the campaign has not even started yet. You know, so, and if you look at the country since the primaries, found out that in the social media and among the youth, the Labour Party person has gathered momentum, you know. So whether it has caught up with them for now, we don't know for now, but this opinion poll says so. We also have to look at sample size. What's the sample size? Is it urban sample size they picked? Is it rural areas? All those things need to be looked at carefully to know how trustworthy this thing can be. But it gives the parties something to work with.
Thank you very much, Silas. It's just like what you said. That is what the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku, said. But the poll was manipulated. And the basis for which he is actually alleging manipulation is that polls that attract credibility are released with the sample size and the margin of error. You understand? So because of that, the spokesman of Atiku's campaign described it as a very funny poll. The polls are assessed by sample size and margin of errors. The Peter Obi surrogate polling company. Conjure something to inflate his ego and confuse voters into thinking cyberspace translates to physical space. That's a 419 poster. Can you say that? But of course, before this, Obi had been very popular on the social media.
Yes.
You dare not say anything against Obi. You know, I was so surprised seeing all these boys, hawkers, Sabokis, them on traffic selling. They started arguing. They were the ones that carry all these handkerchief and all these small accessories to sell. I see them arguing with one woman. And all of them, I saw them shouting, Peter Obi, Peter Obi. I said, I was really. I'm talking of what happened today. I said, so this social media thing is actually true.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, with what you have seen so far on the activities of on social media pertaining to Peter Obi, can you really fault this poll the way the article camp is claiming?
I think Mr. Silas made a very clear point. I don't even know what to add at this stage. He has said there's nothing to suggest that opinion polls or social media, determine the outcome of elections. People will go out and vote, definitely. It's about who goes, the number of people that go out to vote and engage the process. I think that is what this whole thing is about. You can't dismiss the fact that we are increasingly coming the cyberspace and the real space is gradually being merged,
closed. Yes,
shrinking. That gap is really shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. Virtually everything we do, from transactions to social engagements, seems to be gravitating more towards social media and the internet. So to say that the impact of social media is infinitesimal is to be living in denial
fantastic.
to some sense. If not, I wouldn't expect that most of the candidates will want to battle for social media space like we see them do. We see a lot of bantering going on, a lot of back and forth amongst their supporters on social media. So it shows you that they understand that that place is a place for an exchange of ideas and posturing of their candidates' chances. So to say that it does not have some significance in the course of the electoral process will not be. We saw what Trump did with it. Trump was perhaps the most effective user, the presidential effective. Although his case was, quite funny, but he was quite active on it, and we saw how much traffic he was.
He was a very, very angry president on Twitter.
Thomas also used it. No, I'm not talking about whether he was angry or. I'm talking about the
impact.
The impact.
It's following the gods.
Yes, the fact that he was able to drive a lot of traffic and get a lot of people engaged using that platform. So I don't think it will be hasty. I think it will be hasty to just assume to wave off what the social media can do in today's political space. The large number of people that will be voting are mainly people of young age, and so that's the platform, that's where they engage. But of course, the challenge will be how you translate, how do you shrink, or how do you merge that space with the real space? How do you migrate them from social media to real, voting engagement? I think that would be the major challenge they will have to deal with. As for the polls itself, the polls are what they are. And I'm sure the people who put out that poll, would know that when you put out something like this, you expose yourself to intense scrutiny and possible backlash from the opposing side. So it's not unexpected, like Mr. Silas is saying. It's not unexpected that you have these kind of reactions coming from. If it had gone the other way, of course, we would know how the reactions too would be. But the thing is, for each person to sit back, do a proper analysis of what it is, then probably commission their own people to do theirs as well. If they think this one is subjective, they can also do their own. The fact of the matter is, you can look for the kind of facts you want. If you already have a fixed mind, you can look for your facts to back up what you already have
in mind.
So the reality will dawn on us by the time we go to the polls in February.
Yes, because you see, the Tinubu's camp especially said they are not perturbed by that kind of result. According to Bayo Nanuga, the spokesman of the APC presidential campaign, he said, we are unperturbed by these dubious and unreliable statistics because our research shows that no polls have been off the mark at critical election periods in recent times. And then let's look at some of the things the researchers, the pollsters say they use. And of course, what they said is that they relied on certain indices, certain areas. And the top 5 reasons why voters are more inclined to vote in the coming elections include the need to tackle insecurity. The economy, for insecurity, it was 45%. The economy had 20%, education 9%, unemployment 7%, and poverty alleviation 4%. That is the rating. So if you now look at insecurity, which is 45%, what does Obi knows about matters of security? Because at least the present president now, Silas, is a former army general.
Yet look at where we are.
And see where we are. Then they say a poll that pegs insecurity at 45%. Will people be? As somebody, Nigerians will say they are going to vote.
Okay. Well, I don't speak for B, but can hazard a guess in the minds of the people that the polls covered. The possible they looked at is at distance. There's somebody that can be trusted with something. What has been selling Obi's candidacy is integrity. And a lot of Nigerians do believe that this whole insecurity is politically motivated. You understand? And that the power that we are putting politics of sincere religion with insecurity. So they will look at me as somebody who will say A is A and B is B. And who will not mind whose house is God. If you're taking it, no. And if you look at those who are also, the insecurity has a tinge of religiosity in it. The Boko Haram started from a Mizabin sect. Most of the bandits being arrested are also of that same faith. And you have a Muslim ticket in the ruling party APC. You also have an article with a Fulani background. Those is, they can send some kind of fear into the minds of those who are. As well as the president also has that kind of background, Muslim, Fulani, and also, and with all the Fulani militia, all the Rafa, what could have caused, and the failure of the government in power to rein them in. And having an article actually coming in, somebody even told me, I don't know how true it is, that I used to be a financier, or a patron, whatever. My brother is also someone who has links to. And when Boko Haram also wanted Buhari to negotiate for them. So all those things can play in mind. So we want a completely new face in the horizon. We know the one from Borno, Shetima. It's under him that Boko Haram started. So they also feel that, it's tainted with whatever happened in Borno that spread over the country. So those things can be there for those who are taking it that way. That's why if you look at it, insecurity, the economy is so harsh now that people are committing suicide because of hardship in that regime. But they are thinking that security is more important because without security, you cannot do anything in the economy. You cannot farm, you cannot do business. The investors cannot come if that things are going to blow up. So all those things are there. So, and then if you look at Peter Obi's work in Anambra, when he went to Anambra State, Anambra State was a very terrible place. Had big godfathers who had armies there, had a lot of influence, control things. But you had the Bad Brothers, in fact at the time they even kidnapped the sitting governor in Anambra State, Ngige, using the instrumental of police and all the other substantive powers of non-state. But he went to Anambra and within when he was governor, everyone became what? Calm. I was able to achieve the land matters are cheap and Anambra State. So they are okay, if you can run Anambra that was a pet lamb of insecurity and noise and all these things and kept it quiet, possibly he has something, he can bring to the table. And so we have tried in general and it didn't work. Maybe we should try a civilian who may have a clear thinking ability, who is clear-headed. So that could be working for him if they look at insecurity and look at Tobi and Suge, what will be in this call. That could be, but I'm not in their minds.
Well, you see, the reason why most persons, especially in other camps, the camps of other presidential candidates are kicking against it is because naturally the main use of opinion polls before the main election is a tool to inform their campaign and to craft a messaging. And of course, that messaging in these cases, for instance, say they sometimes they could use it to influence voters' behaviors by affecting expectation about the outcomes of the election. A situation where you say, Ross, so you will go and vote for an article when already the man who is going to win has been tipped. He said, you are wasting your time. So that's why you see they're looking at it as fraudulent. But you lose
that's an interesting that's an interesting notion.
Of course, it is. But at the end of the day, on the other hand, there are still some Nigerians who believe that it will be true because the presidential candidates of other party have serious baggages and they are not even helping matter. Imagine Silas Shettima coming out to say that his principal
generosity, punctuality of
Abacha
that the principal ran away from the country because of Abacha.
You can imagine.
And begging to Buhari,
and
to Maradona, Nigerians out of 20 what election was that? 20 what? 1993 election. Which sent Nigeria through this and that military rule to this point. And the other leaders who failed Nigeria, hopefully, brought us to this story.
This time.
And you say
you are not like the presidential candidate.
Corrected.
All the Nigerians I expect will come and wriggle them out of the poverty and the security situation in the country.
So it's selling his candidate, his principal shot.
But that's why they want to have such polls. Reflect like that.
Reflect like this. Then you have somebody like Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. Today they say he has taken off to Europe. The national chairman of the party too is not in the country.
And of course it's burning.
The PDP's crisis is still festering. And that is why they will continue to say Atiku is feeling like Nero while Rome is on fire. So you see, this put together, I think most Nigerians are thinking that is it. But I know very well that you could look at it from another angle. Or are you actually agreeing with them in this regard?
In what regard now?
Based on the kind of points they are raising, for which they are justifying this particular poll that seems to be as
Nigerians are justifying the poll.
Yeah, some of them are saying it. What they are saying is true. Okay. Because most of the opposition we are getting is from the camp of this other presidential candidate, the political party that the polls did not favor.
So, who are the people saying that the polls are real?
Well, you need to go to the social media and see reactions to this.
That is obvious, forte. Most of those on social media
they
are obedient in character.
In any case,
so I understand that.
The campaigns are going to start very soon. By next week, I guess, September 28th, the campaigns will start. Everybody should expect that all Nigerians should hold the candidates to very high standards with regards to what they intend to do. I think we cannot make this point enough because there's a tendency for us to get railroaded into a campaign of flimsy or surface discourse, whereas the key and tough issues will be there simmering. How whoever takes over has to deal with. In fact, the major ones we are talking about are even the questions of security, economy. These are the obvious ones. But there's a serious crisis in the health sector. There's a serious crisis in the education sector. These are very two key sectors that in the ranking of countries and how they do. These are the two key things they look at.
It's there.
Yes, it is terrible that we have so dropped to a point where our security has become the basic cause of discourse. But we need to put these guys to task to tell us what they intend to do as far as these other sectors are concerned. Because it's not enough to, yes, if you finish with the security and all of that, because the bottom line is that most of those areas are mainly issues of political will. If you have somebody with political will, I think that the security crisis will not last as long as it would last. With a strong political will and somebody who stamps his feet on the ground and say, no, this has to end. I believe in 1 year or at most 2 years, we should have a much more stable society, security-wise. And then if that happens, the economy begins to, pick up because there'll be foreign direct investors and there'll be confidence for people to come back and start making investments. The farmers will go back to farm and all of that. But education, health sector, these are long-term projects. We need to know what these people intend to do as far as these two sectors are concerned. Today, we have a serious problem with the ASU people. How are they going to tackle this thing? Yes, one of them said they was going to grant autonomy. Abi? I think he said something like that. Autonomy. Then later he backtracked on that. So let them tell us how do they intend to tackle this ASU problem?
The education problem generally.
I know we will come to that. The primary education is a rot in itself.
The out of school children.
The quality of education. I'm talking about the quality. We are not even talking about the number of children not going to school. We are talking about the quality. The quality. Both be it private, be it public. The quality. Let them tell us how are they going to deal with the quality of teachers we have. How are they going to deal with the quality of the schooling environment and all of that? Go to the health sector. How are they going to engage the states to ensure that primary health care is done properly? These are the issues we need them to tell us in clear black and white. So until we have this kind of discussions, we will just end up talking about an opinion poll says opinion poll. These are, as far as I'm concerned, these are perception, are surface issues. These are surface issues. By the time the campaigns begin, these are the kind of things we want to hear them tell us in clear, concrete terms. This is what I intend to do in the health sector. And even in this health sector, the primary health sector, I expect this of the governors. This is how I'm going to collaborate with them to ensure that this is done. At the tertiary level, this is what I intend to do. This is how we intend to drive traffic. This is how we intend to stop medical tourism. This is how we intend to encourage our doctors and nurses who are out there to come back to help the sector thrive. These are the kind of things we should be discussing.
Well, you're right, Silas. I think what Chibuzo did was really to speak the mind of the participants in that opinion poll, because according to the pollsters, the researchers, they were fair enough to say that 46% of the respondents said they would love to see their preferred presidential candidate participate in a televised interview or debate, with the debate or an interview spanning across topics like the party manifestos, issues of security, economy, education, job creation, healthcare, and agriculture, amongst others.
There's even the agricultural sector.
So, you see, what with things like this, we see the Nigerian politics cannot be equated with that of developed countries like the US and which other country. Yeah. So that is why most Nigerians are wondering that be without a structure. Labour Party, you can't compare Labour Party to party like PDP and APC. Because in Nigeria, you know how Nigerian politics is. The political party must have structure down to the grassroots, where even traditional rulers will answer, they still believe in block vote. Once a royal father says, let's go like this. That is where
that is of structure.
Yes,
it's something we have to discuss another day.
Yes,
the issue is that those who are supporting Obi, for instance, they don't care about structure. The kind of people who are supporting him don't care. They say that the structure they have seen as structures of corruption, inefficiency, and so on that have brought Nigeria to this sorry pass. The structures they have it in APC and PDP, and those two parties have brought Nigeria where we are now. But they're now looking for a change, a new
Let
face.
us even start from
So that one is
let us elevate the quality of discourse. That is where I'm coming from. Let the quality of discourse be elevated from
transcends
what we have
over just the petty.
by the time, and
of
it
a
is the
presidential candidate
responsibility
being like
of
IBB, Maradona,
all of the
and-
stakeholders in this business.
Mm.
If the quality of discourse is elevated, it will pull people out of some level of ignorance and pull them up. That's how other countries that we cite. That is how they let us start.
Well, that is the much we can take for today's edition of the big issue. The opinion polls have tipped Peter Obi to clinch the presidency in 2023.
I did it.
Yeah, in that way, we can easily sit down and start imagining that Peter Obi is in early lead. But time will tell. The campaigns are just very close here, and it's an unfolding situation because the electioneering process is just on, and political fireworks will soon begin with the campaigns commencing on September 28 this month. Well, I would like to thank our in-house analysts for addressing the big issue. And of course, I'll thank our viewers for keeping tab with us out there. Join us next same time on Monday for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.